Introduction to the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Introduction. For thousands of years, the Hindu astrologers have, by their knowledge of the solar system, been enabled to formulate a system of astrology, which enables them to speak with scientific authority and certainty with respect to the planetary influences upon mankind. Each person is born in or under one of the 12 signs of the zodiac, and is thus influenced more or less throughout life by the planetary conditions at time of birth. In this work, I propose to state the natural tendencies of each person, and in a certain way indicate what they should do and what they should not do to make their life a success. By referring to your sign, which is indicated by the date and month when you were born, you will see what your natural tendencies are and what it is best for you to do to attract and use unseen forces and powers which are your birthright and which will aid you to make your future bright. Each and every person is naturally endowed with peculiar and great powers which make for good, and also are born with tendencies which must be corrected in order that the higher and good powers and forces may be able to work to advantage. No matter how bad your lot may seem to you, and how difficult it is for you to get along in the world, you can readily change all darkness to the brightest sunshine, if you only go about it in the right spirit. The first step to take is to fix in your mind a strong desire for what you wish, and persistently and patiently hold this desire until you get it fulfilled. In India, men, through the advice of eminent astrologers, will have an aspiration to accomplish a certain thing, and will persistently hold and believe they will be successful in attaining what they desire until they get their aspiration satisfied. There are 3 things absolutely essential to happiness, and which will always bring success, viz., hope, patience, and determination. Persistent determination to reach success. When we learn to exercise our mind and will on hope, patience, and determination, we find a wide door open to permanent health, wealth, honor, and happiness. One who grumbles and complains and whines and murmurs because others are successful will never have fair fortune smile. The unseen powers cannot and will not help any soul who whines, complains, and murmurs in a world that is filled with health, wealth, and happiness. The grumbler and complainer is never loved. No one desires to help such a being. Indeed, the world leaves no use for such persons, as they are repulsive. Their natures are poisoned with pessimism, and they repel and drive from them constantly millions of good things. The devas, angels, can and do help the bright and cheerful ones who are full of hope and aspire to great and good things, while the lazy, indolent, and whining beings are surrounded by low and degrading forces, which keep them always from everything that is good in this world of good things. There is a cause for every effect. There is a reason why some men and women are successful, and a reason why others are sick and worried and poverty-stricken, miserable and unhappy. No one can reach success or happiness until he or she first calmly, yet with grim determination, says, "I will be what I will to be. My life must be one of success and happiness. My mistakes and errors will not discourage me, but I will profit by them and make them serve as stepping stones to truth and success." It is always wise to calmly reflect upon the past, but very unwise and exceedingly foolish and weakening to brood or worry about the missteps we have taken. No matter what happens to you, keep a cheerful and hopeful mind, and you will eventually succeed beyond all your fondest expectations. Health, success, and happiness is always abundantly measured out by the higher and unseen powers to those who are persistently patient, hopeful, and courageous. No matter what one of the 12 signs of the zodiac you are born under, you can develop into a good and successful person if you will pay strict attention to the golden truths printed in this book. Scarcely one person of the large and growing human family pay enough attention to questions bearing upon individual happiness, prosperity, harmony, and health. This book should be read many times and carefully studied because it contains vital truths respecting our well-being. It suggests to an open and aspiring mind the tremendous power of the will, which, if intelligently exercised, can do wonders. Anyone with a little mental effort can train and develop the will just as easy as we can train and develop the muscles by persistent physical exercise. The moment we fully and vitally realize who and what we are, we then begin to build our own world even as God builds his. As long as one thinks he is weak, that he is a poor worm of the dust, that he has no chance, that his fate is to be whirled hither and thither by forces over which he has no control, just that long he will be at the mercy of such forces. But I tell you, everyone can control these forces and powers and can accomplish grand results the very moment he cleanses his mind of fear and doubt about his ability to succeed. As a man thinks, so he will be. Continually think disease, and you will continually be weak and sick. Continually think poverty, and you will continually be poverty-stricken. These are truths, absolute truths. We must strenuously strive to be sound, helpful, and sensible. We must be strong, self-reliant, self-supporting, and not dependent. Servile dependence in money matters is no longer deemed honorable. Poverty cannot bring happiness. To abolish poverty, we must work with faith and hope and banish once and for all time any and all fears of failure, worry about the past, or apprehension about the future. We must live intensely in the present, let go the past, and the future will take care of itself. We are all masters of our own fate. Fools believe in luck and chance. Each one occupies a good place in the universal zodiac, and all our sufferings are due entirely to a lack of knowledge and wisdom. Now, my sole aim in writing this book is to wake people up out of the delusions in which they live. I tell you all, you are greater beings than you imagine you are. That your dormant or latent powers and forces are great and wonderful. That you, and you alone, limit yourself and suffer because you will not rouse yourself to the grand truth which wise and good men have taught for thousands of years, namely, that you are all the children of one great loving Father who is ever trying to point you the way to eternal happiness through the yogis, adepts, and masters, who are the mediums through whom God, the Blessed Father, works to help his children. There is a good time coming for all of us, and we can hasten that time by a little thought. Blessed be all the yogis, Sankaras, Vidyaranya, and King Sudhanva, and blessed be all the readers of my books, and may joy, peace, health, prosperity, and happiness come to all beings on this planet. Bhakti Seva, Mystic number 10, 22 North William Street, New York City. End of introduction. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 1 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti Seva. Chapter 1. Capricorn. All persons born from December 21st to January 19th, inclusive, were born under the sign of Capricorn. This is the last sign of the Earth triplicity, and is the dark or mysterious sign of the Earth. It will be well for you to study, read much, and do a lot of thinking. Many professional men and women come out of this sign, especially orators, lecturers, and teachers. Education and knowledge of all kinds will be very beneficial for you. Work hard at one thing at a time, and don't try to accomplish too many things in a given time. Act as you think best, and don't permit anyone to run your affairs. By attending strictly to your own business and not meddling or interfering with the affairs of others, you will become very successful. At times you are liable to become blue and depressed. Really, there is no cause for any Capricorn person to ever feel dejected or disheartened, as everything good in the universe is attracted to this sign. By being kind, gentle, noble, and generous, you will become very magnetic and charming, and people will love you, especially those of the opposite sex. You also have wonderful hypnotic powers, which can be brought to a very high degree of development by always being patient and never allowing yourself to become angry or to feel envious or jealous of others. Both your magnetic and hypnotic powers will lead you to wealth and success. Be careful of your money, and don't try to help others too much. Always keep well informed of the progress of the world, and keep your mind open, broad, and tolerant, respecting the opinion of others, even if you don't believe in them. Always put your whole heart, soul, and energy into everything you undertake, no matter if the undertaking is a small one. I know your nature is to do large and great things, and that is all right. But ever remember, if you do the smallest thing in the world successfully, it will put you in a position to do something better and greater. All Capricorn people ought to have a good business education and should ever strive to acquire and save money. I don't mean to be stingy, mean, or pernicious about money matters, because no one in this great and wonderful age will be much of a success who is not liberal and broad-minded with respect to money matters. The women of this sign are very sensible, practical, and lovable. They make excellent wives, managers of homes, and housekeepers of large institutions. Music to you is very beneficial. Some excellent singers, musicians, actors, and actresses come out of this sign. Enjoy yourself all you can in a rational and sensible way, such as attending social gatherings, entertainments, concerts, lectures, and public meetings. Be moderate and temperate in all you do, and your success and happiness is assured. Never doubt your ability to amass money in any line of work which you really love. It is foolish for you to engage in work that is utterly distasteful to you, and in which you cannot willingly put your whole heart, head, and soul. Ever remember that while wealth is a great thing to have, there are other equally as great things for you to acquire, viz., perfect health and a thorough cultivation of your mind and higher nature. Don't be proud, arrogant, or dictatorial. Remember, we are all of one family, and that we are all God's children. It is difficult to get Capricorn people to give much time to the cultivation of the spiritual side of their natures. Yet, when once aroused in this respect, they often become enthusiastic and earnest workers in religious causes. Right here, I desire to state that it will be well for you to remember. Right here, I desire to state that it will be well for you to remember that without any exception, every great and true man and woman in all history was a lover of God and obeyed the divine law. You may question this, but look into the matter fairly, deeply, and honestly, and you will find my statement is the absolute truth. Avoid being skeptical or pessimistic. Don't talk too much, but be a good listener. You can become a very good and useful citizen by holding in your mind high and noble thoughts and keeping well balanced. When a Capricorn person can fully control their mind so that he or she will not be angry and free from worry or anxiety, there's no telling how wonderful they will become in their achievements. By often silently thinking and meditating on life and its meaning and the beautiful and higher things in life, you will draw to you the life forces of the universe and all the good planetary and solar forces of your sign, which will bring you to the greatest success and complete and perfect happiness. A study of occult science, philosophy, and metaphysical works would be of untold advantage to you. Many of the greatest men and women in the world were born in your sign. This planet's attraction for you is very strong, and you must be very careful to control all your appetites, passions, and desires with an iron will, which you possess and can use, if you see fit to do so. There is scarcely any limit to your powers if you only will exercise your wonderful will intelligently. A happy marriage is essential to the success and happiness of Capricorn people of both sexes. In India, the yogic astrologers say to you people, get married and follow the divine command by raising a family of children. We also are very strict in our advice to Capricorn people that they must love their fellow man and do unto all as they would be done by. The golden rule has been practiced in India for thousands of years before the Christian era. Your sign is governed by Saturn, and you are continually surrounded by planetary forces and solar fluids which can help you. Now, dear friend, be guided by what I say, as I love you dearly and wish to see you make your life a grand success. You can read every word in this book many times to great advantage. A Capricorn person is very foolish to ever doubt his or her ability to succeed. This sign is governed by Saturn, and the gems are white onyx and moonstone. The astral colors are garnet, brown, silver gray, and black. The diseases that you are most likely to suffer from are indigestion and melancholy. You are also given to overwork because of your determination to succeed in whatever you undertake. Your best companions are those born in Taurus, Virgo, and Libra, also those born in your own sign. People born in this sign are usually short of stature and sometimes have dark complexions and hair with remarkably expressive eyes. May the peace and blessings of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Capricorn. Bhakti, Seva. Cusps. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Sagittarius through Capricorn, December 21st to 27th. These cuspers are, as a rule, happier than those born in the sign Capricorn. The social and intellectual ambition of Capricorn is modified by the democratic attributes of Sagittarius. The natives of this cusp are among the greatest thinkers of the world. They are natural teachers of the young, and are much fonder of children than the average Capricorner. The successful training of musical talent is easily developed by the response of earth to fire and the companionable influence of Jupiter. People born in this cusp are just and kindly, are great observers and fine critics. They do not fall in love easily, and when they marry, it is because of affection. They are exact, methodical, and efficient in all they undertake. They are good dancers, good linguists, and the best of traveling companions. End of Chapter 1. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 2 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 2. Aquarius. All persons born from January 20th to February 18th, inclusive, were born under the sign of Aquarius. This is the last sign of the air triplicity, and people born under it will do well to give the strictest heed and attention to what I say here. Your strength and power lies wholly within your own hands, and it is very important that you so think and live as to bring out your great possibilities. You must not rely on your friends for help, but must be thoroughly self-reliant, self-supporting, and independent. But you should rely on and pay great attention to the teachings and writings of good and great men and women who are striving to help mankind. You have days of great happiness and days of great misery, and you must learn how to avoid these blue spells and have all of your days bright and happy. This can be done by your understanding once and for all time that you are possessed of unusual powers and abilities. But if you are lazy and blue, you cannot use these powers. Wake up, then, and by your will, throw off all doubts of your ability to make a grand success of life. When you do this, then will come to you great health and wealth, and your rare and natural talents will be amply rewarded. You have wonderful magnetic and hypnotic powers, which you can develop to a very high degree by keeping quiet and calm and free from all worry. As a matter of fact, your planetary and solar forces will carry you through any and all sickness or trouble, if you will only remain quiet and give them a chance to work. But the very moment you begin to doubt, fret, or worry about any good thing coming to you, these forces cannot work. Work, and lots of it, is what you require and have a taste or inclination for. You must not be proud or vain, or think too much of yourself. If you do, you will not be as charming as you could be by being quiet and modest. Persons born in your sign have no reason whatever to idly sit about deploring their misfortunes or inability to succeed, for I tell you positively you can succeed far beyond your fondest expectations, if you will go about it as directed here and elsewhere in this book. Read this book carefully and thoughtfully many times when you are calm and quiet. Its teachings can direct you to all you desire. People of your sign who worry and fret and become discouraged surround themselves with the repelling forces of the universe, which will cause their friends and acquaintances to dislike them. Indeed, they drive people from them who could be of great assistance when in moody or blue fits. Don't live in the senses too much. Remember, you are not here to eat, drink, and be merry all the time. Realize that you have duties to perform, that God intends each one of His children to do certain work, reap the reward, and be cheerful and happy. Don't be afraid or timid or half-hearted in your undertakings, whether it is in amassing money, making love, or acquiring knowledge. Whatever you attempt to do or desire to become will be accomplished, providing you have full faith in your ability to succeed. You ought to read a great deal of newspapers, magazines, and books. Reading the lives of successful men and women will help you wonderfully. Don't care what people think or say about your actions. Be good and honest and do the very best you can without fear of criticism or without caring what your friends will think about it. Forge ahead with strong will and grim determination to succeed, and your success will be assured. Don't talk at all with your friends about the great things you intend doing. Keep a closed mouth and quietly and intently go about doing your work or carrying out your plans, and then you will succeed. All this advice will apply to social achievements, business success, or love affairs, and is written for both sexes. You can succeed in anything you undertake when once you understand or realize that you must have no fears or doubts about your ability to succeed. Always be careful to think alone over a project, an undertaking, or selection of a calling, and after cool and careful thought. If you arrive at a conclusion, just what you want to do, go about it without consulting anyone, fully determined you will succeed. Economy and strict application to business is the foundation of all wealth. Pay as you go and keep out of debt. Debt weakens and makes an arrant coward of one born in your sign. Attention to religion and philosophy will be very beneficial to you. Try to feel and realize that there is a great and good God back of everything you see, that this world, this universe, you did not happen by chance. When aroused to spiritual or divine truths, the Aquarius people are marvelous beings. In India, the yogis, who are the most wonderful people in the world, give their whole lives to worship and the service of God. They are mighty workers and do a great amount of good. We say to you of the Aquarius sign, have faith and hope. Be cheerful and happy, and then the good forces, which are the unseen powers, will all work for your good. The devas, angels, of which there are countless numbers, will begin to help you just as soon as you have a sincere desire to be a good or great person. Understand, your great help can come from yourself, and when you arouse your will and spirit, these unseen forces and powers will be at hand to guide and help you. Either sex of this sign ought to make a happy marriage and surround their home with children. By knowing and correcting our faults, we become great. Strenuously strive to go onward, forward, and upward. Be progressive. Don't lag at the tail end of the procession, but be at the head. Cast out of your mind forever all fear, doubt, lack of hope, and thoughts of failure, and your life will be bright and happy. This sign is governed by Saturn and Uranus. The gems are sapphire, opal, and turquoise, and the astral colors are blue, pink, and Nile green. The diseases that you are most likely to suffer from are rheumatism, pains in the head and feet, brain difficulties, low circulation, loss of vital heat, nervous diseases, and gloomy forebodings. Your best companions are those born in Aries, Sagittarius, and Aquarius, and sometimes you would work harmoniously with Libra people. People born in this sign are usually tall, dignified, healthy, robust, and have clear complexions. May the peace and blessings of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Aquarius. Bhakti, Seva. Cusps. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Capricorn through Aquarius. This is the union of two negative signs, the last sign of the air, the last sign of the earth. From a business point, this is said to be the chief cusp for both men and women. The men are cool in their performances and calculations, and are ingenious and are usually exact. The women have a natural gift for business. They can run most any kind of an establishment with ease and success. The pronounced ideas concerning economy ensure people born in this cusp plenty of this world's goods. They are original in their ideas and sometimes exceedingly stubborn. They are spasmodically generous, giving where other people do not give, and withholding where others give. They enjoy philanthropic work, but are liable to tire of it if it interferes with their business. End of chapter 2. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 3 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 3. Pisces. All persons born from February 19th to March 20th, inclusive, were born under the sign of Pisces. Pisces people are born in the last sign of the water triplicity, and have a deep, hidden love nature. They are naturally noble, generous, and helpful. In India, the astrologers give much attention to Pisces people, and I intend here to give you words of advice, which, if heeded and followed, will lead you into the very highest realms of happiness. First, you must understand that your realm is the kingdom of the soul, that you must ever strive to live a clean, pure life. Be kind, gentle, and loving to all beings, especially animals. The world always needs loving people, and it always amply rewards them with all the good things of the world. You can help others, and by doing so will help yourself. The most successful men and women in this world are those who are charming, magnetic, and hypnotic. And the only way to get these wonderful powers in their highest degree is for you to always think well of everyone, to wish everyone in the world success and happiness, and never in the slightest way have any feelings of anger, jealousy, or envy. The very best of us at times are apt to have these bad thoughts enter our minds, but with patience and practice we can learn to throw such bad and weakening thoughts out of the mind and put in their place higher and better thoughts. Now, this is what you must ever strive to do, and then you will attract powers and forces which will make every being dearly love you, especially the opposite sex. The world will never love or serve a low-minded man or woman. You must always aspire to be great and good, and distinctly understand that if you are good, honest, just, and true, you will do a great amount of good in the world and reap the richest awards. By letting your highest or best nature dominate your lower nature, you will draw to you anything you desire. Great health, prosperity, and happiness is yours if you will only be true to yourself. Many fine musicians, artists, art critics, poets, writers, and lecturers come out of this sign. Pisces people also naturally have good judgment and discriminating powers which place them in high positions of trust and responsibility, and we find among them private secretaries, stenographers, bookkeepers, cashiers, and treasurers. Always avoid anything that is low, vulgar, coarse, or common. Spend a great deal of your time in reading poetry, history, biography, and other good and elevating literature. Listening to much music will be very beneficial to your health and also in developing latent forces within you. I would also advise you to give time to outdoor exercise, especially in the fields and woods where you can observe nature. Associate all you can with quiet, calm, and thoughtful persons, and be alone with good thoughts sometime each day. If you have a tendency to talk about yourself, stop it. No one loves an egotist. At times you may feel that all the world is against you, but I say positively that this is bad thinking and is not true. For as a general thing, all the world loves a Pisces person, especially when they have cultivated the higher nature. You are really a very powerful person, and you can increase your force and powers by always being patient, calm, and cheerful. God has endowed you with great natural gifts, and you must realize this fact, and then you will be very successful and very happy. Be broad, liberal, and tolerant, and never think falsely, such as, for instance, that any one religion is the only true one. God, in His great wisdom, manifests Himself in many ways, and through many religions and many sects. Therefore, I say, with divine knowledge and wisdom, that all religions are good for man. This is the age of tolerance and liberality. Dogmas and creeds keep one in bondage. Fretting, worrying, anxiety, and impatience are your faults at times, and if you want health, wealth, and happiness, it will be necessary for you to stop this sort of thing at once and for all time. Morbid and gloomy feelings will only keep you down and cause untold suffering and agony of mind. If you are inclined to be blue, dejected, or depressed, go off in a quiet spot all alone, and silently and earnestly pray to God for light, love, and direction, and your prayers will be immediately answered. Immediate relief will come to you. People of your sign reach their highest achievement and greatest happiness when they learn to place all their trust and hope in the Blessed One, God, good. He is the all in all and all love, and is always ready to help us if we will only give Him a chance to do so. Don't be obstinate or stubborn or unreasonable, as this attitude of mind will make you suffer from painful nervousness, melancholy, and despondency. The Pisces people must be very careful to not allow their minds to dwell on one thing too much, and therefore ought to have diversified employments. Another thing, you must curb all foolish emotions and learn to attend strictly to your own affairs, and never, in any way, meddle or interfere with the business of others. Pisces people of both sexes ought to get married and have children. A pleasant, harmonious home of their own is very essential to their happiness. In amassing wealth, you can do it easily if you will be quiet, patient, and calm about it. But if you hurry and worry about money, you are apt to be poor, invite poverty. You must learn to become calm, quiet, tranquil, restful, and reposeful before the great and wonderful unseen planetary and solar forces can help you. I have surely pointed the way for your success, and I sincerely hope you will be guided by my words. This sign is governed by Jupiter and Neptune. The gems are chrysolite, pink shell, and moonstone. The astral colors are white, pink, emerald green, and black. The diseases that you are most likely to suffer from are pains in the head, feet, and back, and weakness of the digestive organs, and you are liable to have periods of despondency. Your best companions are those born in Virgo and Capricorn. People born in this sign are usually full-faced, with placid, sleepy eyes, and are inclined to be round-shouldered. May the peace and blessings of the Blessed One, and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Pisces. Bhakti, Seva. Cusps. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Aquarius through Pisces, February 19th through 25th. The natives of this cusp are honorable in their business relations and endeavor to carry this principle of truth and justice in everything they do. But they have very little conscience about social engagements. They are liable to be peculiar. They wish to oblige everybody, and so they promise and forget or promise and ignore. They enjoy to be tastefully dressed, and are great lovers of a combination of colors in their dress. They are fond of talking of their own achievements, but are not liable to tell of their failures, sicknesses, or troubles. When happily married, they are the most joyous people on the earth. There are also a few gay, loquacious, and heartless coquettes in this cusp. They have the best disposition of any of the 12 cusps, and they seldom, if ever, lose their good temper. End of Chapter 3. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 4 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 4. Aries. All persons born from March 21st to April 19th inclusive were born under the sign of Aries. This is the head of the fire triplicity, and is a most favorable sign to be born under. Your success in everything depends upon tremendous push, energy, and systematic effort. You must be stubbornly persistent in carrying your projects to a successful end. All persons born from March 21st to April 19th inclusive were born under the sign of Aries. This is the head of the fire triplicity, and is a most favorable sign to be born under. Your success in everything depends upon tremendous push, energy, and systematic effort. You must be stubbornly persistent in carrying your projects to a successful end. Men and women of the Aries sign, when they do not fear opposition and are sincerely honest and earnest, become great leaders. The planetary and solar forces which surround you can be of greater help when you are kind, gentle, noble, generous, agreeable, and affable. At such times you are very fascinating, charming, and exceedingly magnetic and hypnotic. Any man or woman who has magnetism is a grand success in everything. Education, culture, and lots of reading will make you a brilliant and charming conversationalist. Knowledge and wisdom are of great importance to you, and you can acquire the same without much difficulty if you will set your mind with grim determination that you must have knowledge. Powers and forces which are yours by birth will help you. We yogis positively know that the devas, angels, will help all Aries people who have faith in themselves and are hopeful, cheerful, and courageous. There are no powers in the universe that can help in the slightest degree anyone who whines, murmurs, complains, and broods over troubles or obstacles. There is a way out of every trouble, and the calm, quiet, patient being soon discovers that way and is helped by unseen powers. When the higher or spiritual side of the Aries nature is cultivated, it makes a wonderfully strong character, with extraordinary psychic powers for banishing all ill, sorrows, and troubles. You can acquire clairvoyant powers when you can learn to diligently apply yourself to trying to improve your mind and body by thought and study. It is very important that you think highly and live simply. Only do one thing at a time, and learn to concentrate and apply your mind to that one thing alone, and not scatter and throw away your force on a number of undertakings. Steady application is absolutely necessary in amassing wealth and having perfect health and happiness. It will be of advantage to you to study occult science and metaphysics. Many such works are published, and if you have a strong desire to know about these subjects, you will find a way of laying your hands on the right works at the right time. Always remember, you can make a grand success in anything you undertake if you so believe at the commencement of the undertaking, and persistently hold to that thought until the end. Aries people of a true religious nature, who persistently and silently pray to God for help, light, and direction, invariably have their prayers answered. And now, a few words of caution about envy and jealousy. Often Aries people have envious and jealous thoughts which retard their progress and dwarf their nature. To counteract this bad and injurious state of mind, learn to give forth thoughts of love and kindness to all your fellow beings, and especially learn to love your enemies and those who are more successful than you are. In love affairs, you will be a dire failure if you are the least bit jealous. No one can really love or admire anyone tainted the least bit with jealousy. Love is always driven away by jealousy. Moreover, there can be no happiness where there is jealousy. In business matters, envy of others' success is disastrous to one's own success. It should delight you beyond all measure to see everyone succeed, and you should never gloat over the failure of anyone who is competing with you. A great man or woman is always above all envy or all jealousy. Selfishness, anger, intense greed, and impatience can also block your way to success. You must always strive to be large and broad-minded, liberal, tolerant, and not bigoted. These are the men and women of the world who succeed, the broad-minded people. Now, I tell you emphatically that any Aries person who will be guided by my advice as given here can, without a question of doubt, become perfectly healthy, vigorous and powerful, lovable and charming, and wealthy and happy. Associate all you can with good, wise, educated, and successful people, and in conversation do little talking yourself, but a great deal of observation and thinking. This is a rule observed by all who desire to become wise and great. Life and its proper conduct is the greatest problem man has to solve, and we must silently and alone give much thought to it. When you have a very important matter to decide, take plenty of time in arriving at a decision. You should always be in a quiet and calm state of mind in settling important matters. Anger, haste, and excitement have caused much failure, much sadness, and much sorrow in this world. A happy marriage is a good thing for Aries people of both sexes, and in the selection of a life partner, don't be in too great a hurry. If you are married, then continually study and plan to make your home a bright and happy one. If there is not harmony, peace, and happiness in your home, the chances are that it is your fault, as Aries people often cause unhappiness by their anger, selfishness, and jealousy. This sign is governed by Mars and Neptune. The gems are amethyst, Brazilian, and diamond. The astral colors are white and rose pink. The diseases that you are most likely to suffer from are headache, afflictions of the eyes, stomach trouble, and paralysis. Your best companions are those born in Sagittarius and your own sign. There are really two distinct types of Aries people. One type is tall, spare, with oval face, swarthy complexion, and large shoulders. The other type is short of stature. May the peace and blessing of the Blessed One, and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Aries. Bhakti, Seva. Cusps. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Pisces through Aries, March 21st to 27. This cusp is a union of the feet, intellect, head, which ensures remarkable brain power and capacity to carry business projects of all kinds to successful conclusions. They have remarkable enthusiasm and kindliness, which makes them charming friends and companions. Their loyalty is as steadfast as the day is long. They depend upon their intuition, which is remarkable, and their intuition never fails them. The women are usually fond of men's society and enjoy having a large number of strings to their bow, and do not care to forfeit this pleasure for marriage. The men are more given to marriage than the women, but they have a way of calculating conditions and look before they leap. The genius of this cusp is absolute cleanliness, inside and out. They have warm hearts and cool passions, and are called the consolers of the world. End of chapter 4. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 5 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 5. Taurus. All persons born from April 20th to May 19, inclusive, were born under the sign of Taurus. This is the head sign of the earth triplicity, and the Taurus people, naturally living in the realm of their sensations and emotions, must give great heed to doing certain things, or else they will suffer much. In the first place, you must control your appetites and passions. I know you are generous and like to entertain your friends with good dinners, but don't do too much of it, as you often place them in an embarrassing position, as they are not able to always return your kind and generous favors. Taurus people can amass great fortunes if they are true to their higher nature, which is to be large-minded, broad, and liberal in all they do. It is easier for you to make money than it is to save it. I would advise you to get into the habit of saving a little money regularly for a rainy day, although the true developed Taurus person will see few, if any, rainy days. You are naturally strong intellectually, and ought to cultivate your mind by wide and extensive reading. Some great writers, public speakers, preachers, and lecturers come out of your sign. It does not make much difference what profession or line of work you choose. You will be very successful in it, provided you will put all of your mind, heart, and soul into it. In other words, your success depends upon being earnestly enthusiastic over anything you have underway. You are a natural born leader, and must not allow others to dictate to you what to do. Don't be proud, vain, or arrogant, or even dictatorial, but go along quietly, carrying out whatever plans you may have in hand, and which seem right to you, without permitting anyone to influence your course of procedure. Your inner self, the true man, will decide better what to do than anyone else can. In love matters, social attainments, and leadership, you will excel, providing you will be guided by what I write here. Practice silence and patience, and don't think or talk much about what a great person you are. Realize quietly that you are great, but avoid being egotistical, and then you will be very charming, fascinating, magnetic, and hypnotic, drawing to yourself all the good things of the universe. At all times you must have self-control, and understand if you cannot control yourself, you cannot help or control others, and what is best of all, control and use to your great advantage the good and wonderful planetary forces and solar fluids which surround all Taurus people. Mildness, gentleness, and consideration for others whom you feel are inferior to yourself will make you a wonderful man or woman. Women of this sign must not be overbearing and dictatorial, but gentle, mild, and calm, and then they will wield a tremendous force. Anyone who is not self-control is not reliable and does not inspire confidence or respect. Taurus people, as a rule, have a natural tendency to eat and drink too much, and by not curbing their appetites, bring on disease, depression, morbid and melancholy feelings, the blues. Whenever you feel blue or dejected, fast for a day or stop eating and drinking so much. Keep cool and quiet, and you will soon recover your spirits and be bright and cheerful. Always look upon the opposite sex with pure minds, for overwhelming disaster now and then comes to the Taurus person who is not pure in mind with respect to the opposite sex. Your great force and power is in making your higher nature rule and dominate your lower nature, your brutal instincts. When in passion, Taurus, the bull, people often rip and tear about what the madness of an infuriated bull. You should always be on your guard to not let your angry passions rise and make you ridiculous to all who see you perform. Anger is very weakening and always destroys charm of character. No one can love one who gets angry spells. One of the worst faults of the Taurus sign is anger. Many a person can trace misfortune, sickness, and even failure to a spell of anger. Madness and anger are the signs of an unbalanced mind indeed. It is often the sign or forerunner of insanity. Don't be too exacting, arbitrary, or domineering, and understand others have rights, which must be respected. Naturally, no matter how careful you may be to avoid it, you will have your own way, especially when your way is the right and true way. Taurus men must not be harsh or cruel to their wives, but kind and loving. If you are a married man and disobey this command of the yogis, you will suffer greatly. Woman is the grandest and best being in the world. She is not the weaker vessel, but is by all odds the finest organization in the universe. In India, woman stands at the head of creation. Many Hindus worship God as mother of mankind, not father. Woman should command our highest love and highest respect. All Taurus people will find much happiness in marriage, especially if the marriage is blessed with children. Many a man in this sign has reached his highest success after marriage. In love affairs, you can be very successful if you will exercise mildness, gentleness, and patience. Now, remember, you can be mighty, great, and good, happy and prosperous only when you conquer your lower nature. The greatest of all conquests is the conquest of self. This sign is governed by Venus. The gems are moss agate and emerald. The astral colors are red and lemon yellow. The diseases which you are most likely to suffer from are heart troubles, dropsy, tumors, and sometimes apoplexy and brain disorders. Your best companions are those born under Capricorn and Libra. People born in this sign usually have full faces, wide noses and mouths, shining flesh inclined to readiness, and are generally powerfully built. May the peace and blessings of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Taurus. Bhakti, Seva. Cusps. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Aries through Taurus, April 19th to 25. These natives have a wiry, tenacious nature, and show remarkable strength in all mental conditions. It is their nature to load their friends and neighbors with good things to wear and good things to eat. They are fond of the very best things, have good taste, and their beneficiaries are in luck. The impulse of the sex is strong, and they are apt to make unhappy marriages. Their natural tendencies are toward the very highest heights. But if the native of this sign decides to touch the bottom of dissipation and sensuality, he will do so. They are called the children of the four horns, on account of their invincible determination to win. The ram is fearless and busy. The bull is fearless and dominant. The natives of this caste are liable to think they know it all, and are given to inflict their advice upon their families and associates. Their capacity is unbounded, and they are born rulers. End of Chapter 5. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 6 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 6. Gemini. All persons born from May 20th to June 20th inclusive were born under the sign of Gemini. This is the head sign of the air triplicity. Gemini people have a vivacious, restless, and anxious nature. This is the sign of the twins, and all are born in it have two distinct and pronounced natures. One very low and one very high. As they are apt to be extremists in everything they do, they usually experience alternately the very highest success and great failure, are either very strong and healthy, or are weakly and sick. There is only one thing for a Gemini person to do, and that is to first realize his dual nature, and then go to work with a grim determination to kill the lower or base nature. It can be done, and when accomplished, the Gemini man or woman rises to the very highest success and happiness. You will find you have two minds all the time in intense action. One says, do this, and the other says, do that. You want to travel, and you want to stay home. You want to work like a demon, and you want to be as lazy and indolent as a drone. Always restless, always anxious and apprehensive, and yet, at times, very calm. This restless, nervous temperament is due to fear and doubt, and must be supplanted by courage and hope and faith. As a matter of fact, there is no person who can do more and achieve greater success than you can if you will only understand how favorably you are born, and your great and wonderful forces of the unseen world, which are always ready to help you, if you will only give these powers half a chance. You must learn to be moderate and patient, and keep in a calm, quiet, receptive condition, when great and good things will flow to you in abundance. In other words, place all of your trust and confidence in the great and wise God who made and rules all in this universe. I know you are apt to doubt this truth, but stop a moment and be reasonable. Use your fine and great mind. Look about you and observe everything, and soberly ask yourself, could this world and all that is in it, this great universe with its countless solar systems and countless worlds, these human beings of which I am one, happen by chance? By cool and calm observation and reflection, you will answer the question by admitting there must be an intelligent head or force back of it all. Now this blessed one, of which everything in the universe, especially you are a part, can help you. God is all in all, and is all love, and does not create to destroy. You have absolutely nothing to fear or doubt. All that is necessary for you to do to accomplish all your desires is to have full and unbounded faith in yourself, and then you will be successful. You can amass great wealth, have perfect health, and permanent happiness the very moment you begin to live in your higher nature. Worry, discontent, complaining, and murmuring will keep you in darkness and misery. Improve your mind, study and read much, observe more, and understand knowledge and wisdom brings to man all power and all force and all success and happiness. You must get full control of your desires, appetites, and passions, and not be too anxious, too ambitious, or too impatient. Learn not to worry, hurry, or scurry through life. Do one thing at a time, and do that one thing well. Whenever you start any undertaking, don't stop until you bring it to an end. Associate with refined and educated people as much as you can, and do not place too high a value on your abilities. Give to all beings, especially animals, great love, and try to be kind and gentle to everyone. Get a good, loving partner as a husband or a wife. Marriage is very beneficial to Gemini people. If you are married, do all you possibly can to make your home a bright and happy one. Be temperate in all things, especially in eating and drinking, and avoid all foods or drinks which excite or make you restless. Gemini people ought to eat sparingly of flesh or animal foods. Listen to music. Attend lectures, churches, and public meetings. Read much about successful men and women. The study of metaphysics and the occult sciences is very beneficial to Gemini people. Don't be too sensitive or timid. Remember, you are a wonderful being and can accomplish much, that there is no such thing as failure to one born in your sign. Above all things, be truthful and avoid making extravagant statements or narrating exploits in which you are the central figure. In plain English, don't be an egotist. In India, many of the great seers, sages, yogis, and adepts come out of this sign. The Gemini person is naturally very magnetic and has wonderful hypnotic and clairvoyant powers. Some of the greatest philosophers and prophets of the world were born in this sign. By being calm, modest, unaffected, truthful, and honest, and striving to do the exact right thing, you will be a very charming and fascinating person, and all persons will dearly love and worship you. Look after your faults and correct them, and you will live a long, prosperous, and exceedingly happy life. This sign is governed by Mercury, and the gems are beryl, aquamarine, and dark blue stones, and the astral colors are red, white, and blue. The diseases which you are most likely to suffer from are throat and lung troubles and nervous diseases. Your best companions are those born in Aquarius and Virgo. People born in this sign are usually well-formed, with bright complexion and dark hair. May the peace and blessings of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Gemini. Bhakti, Seva. Cusps. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Taurus through Gemini, May 20th through 26th. The persons born on either of these 6 days are remarkably gifted. Their brains and their hands work in harmony. They are thinkers, artisans, artists, orators, and inventors. Without early training, they often develop abnormally and spend their time in sensuous enjoyment. Under these conditions, the women are either chronically nervous or hysterical, and the men, without proper development, are careless of their manners and reputation, and are liable to be loud-voiced. But, under wise direction, the very opposite exists for both sexes. You will find good taste displayed, and very refined people are developed in this cusp. They are busy and helpful when at their best, and indolent when not in good spirits. It is all up and down with these people until they learn to govern themselves. If poor, they are tragically unhappy. They are remarkably proud and will starve rather than to ask for succor. These people are the very salt of the earth, and when developed to their spiritual and intellectual heritage, their natures are most powerful for good when they are understood, and they are generous givers, but poor receivers. End of chapter 6. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 7 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 7. Cancer. All persons born from June 21st to July 21st, inclusive, were born under the sign of Cancer. Cancer is the head sign of the water triplicity. Hindu astrology teaches persons born in this sign much that will enable them to go through life successfully. In the first place, you are naturally restless and nervous, and have a hard time making your friends understand your true nature. It is important that you know all your faults and realize that you must overcome them before you can reach the high degree of success which you can attain and which belongs to your sign. Really, you can become very successful and reach greatness by paying strict attention to what I here tell you. Your propensity is to travel, and it would be an excellent thing if you could engage in some occupation that would require you to be on the go most of the time. But don't travel about chasing rainbows or will-o'-the-wisps. Have a steadfast and earnest purpose in everything you do, and try to acquire much knowledge of the world by reading good books of travel, history, and biographical sketches. Learn at once that it is a very bad thing for you to talk about yourself, about the great things you have done or intend doing. Be silent and act, ever remembering that performance and true work speak louder than boastful talk. Don't get discouraged or make yourself miserable because you cannot do all of the great things you see others doing. If you will keep calm and patient, you can attract unseen planetary and solar forces, which in time will enable you to surpass in accomplishment many of your acquaintances who seem to be ahead of you. Your best plan is to be secretive and work quietly without letting anyone know your plans. Acts speak louder than words. Silence is golden. You must be at the head and not at the tail end of things, and you can accomplish this by quiet thought, careful study, and much reading of the lives of successful men and women. Learn all you can and understand that knowledge and wisdom is power. Stick persistently to one kind of occupation, and don't fritter and waste your energy and powers by changing from one thing to another. While you are naturally adapted to do many things well, take the advice of one who knows what he is writing about, and stick faithfully and persistently to one thing at a time. If you will follow the teachings of Hindu astrologers, you will never regret it. Under no circumstances tell a lie. Be truthful and honest, and you will receive great reward. There is a great and loving ruler of this universe, to whom you ought to pray for light, love, and direction. Such prayers are always answered. He, the Blessed One, can lead you to all peace and all happiness. The devas, angels, are ever ready to help you. Have the strongest faith in yourself, for you can succeed and progress and go onward, forward, and upward if you once realize what a great being you are. Cancer people have always furnished the world with great and grand people. Make up your mind that you will be one more of this class. It is in you to be good and great, and you certainly can become so by following Bhakti Seva's advice as given here. We yogis always urge men and women to marry and have children and make happy homes. In all ages, throughout the writing of sages, seers, and prophets, God has given the command to His children to marry and perpetuate the races. Any man or woman who does not heed this divine command is doing wrong. There is nothing that can bring so much success and true happiness into the world as a happy marriage. If you are married, then God bless you, and may you create such a happy home that it will be an example to others to do likewise. In love affairs, the Cancer people are very successful when they are sincere and persistent. Laziness, selfishness, vanity, jealousy, and dishonesty are sometimes natural to the Cancer person, and must be overcome before any success or happiness can be had. You ought to dress well, but must not run in debt for fine clothes. Every dollar you spend for anything ought to be a dollar that you have earned. Don't let people make you vain, silly, and foolish by flattering you. Flattery can work you great harm if you listen to it. Don't be fickle or inconstant, because a fickle person is soon known, and no one will place any confidence in such a person. Some women of the Cancer sign are very fickle. Cancer is governed by the moon, and as this satellite of our planet is changing every month, it accounts for the restless and impatient nature of people born in your sign. You can easily remedy all of your bad tendencies and become very strong and great by holding in your mind all the times an earnest desire to be a better man or a better woman. The planetary forces and the solar fluids will then help you to destroy the influence of the moon. Besides, Cancer people can get much strength and help from unseen powers if they will only feel and understand that behind all creation is one blessed principle, the Ancient One, the King of all kings, the very God of the universe. Until you can realize this grand truth, you will have to struggle and suffer more or less. God can only help those who sincerely desire His help. The study of philosophy, metaphysics, and occult science will open your eyes to wonderful truths and give you powers and forces that will make you successful, magnetic, charming, and fascinating. This sign is governed by the moon, and the gems are emerald and black onyx. The astral colors are green and russet brown. The diseases which you are most likely to suffer from are indigestion and gastric troubles. Your best companions are those born in Pisces and Scorpio. People born in this sign are usually of medium stature, rather large in the upper portion of the body, with round face, soft skin, pale complexion, and small features. May the peace and blessings of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Cancer. Bhakti Seva. Cusps. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Gemini through Cancer, June 21st through 27th. The utmost care in childhood is needed to persons born in this cusp. These persons are opinionated and self-willed, but make the best neighbors and friends when they are understood. The women born in this sign are often coquettes. Their marital engagement is treated as a passing sensation, and marriage is liable to be held quite as loosely. They are excessively fond of children, and in case of separation, they fight to death for their custody. The men are extremely fond of pleasure, and liable to sacrifice business and home for this pursuit. The bon vivants of the world were born in this cusp. They are excessively fond of show, but possess a magnetic quality that draws everything to them. If they fail in business, someone always comes to the rescue and helps them start again, and it is very apt to be a woman. They are remarkably brilliant, and always show to advantage on account of their wonderful magnetism. They are fluent talkers, great readers, but are apt to be superficial. The genius of this sign is kindliness. End of Chapter 7. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 8 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 8. Leo. All persons born from July 22nd to August 21st, inclusive, were born under the sign of Leo. Leo, the lion, is the middle of the fire triplicity. You are naturally of a jovial, sympathetic, free, and friendly disposition. To the extent that you are kind-hearted, generous, and sympathetic, to that extent you are magnetic and hypnotic. Magnetic and hypnotic powers will give you force to accomplish much good, and will draw to you wealth, health, and happiness. You must bend every energy to be magnetic and charming, because these qualities are yours by birth. By paying the strictest attention to what I advise in this delineation, you can swing through this world as a lovable and powerful being, and can avoid all trouble and friction. Put forth of your love freely to all mankind, and have only high aims, ever striving to be pure and high-thinking. There is nothing that can harm you or retard your progress and growth if you will only hold steadfast to high principles. Learn that silence is great power, that cheerfulness, contentment, and patience will bring you much prosperity, much health, and much happiness. Never shirk a duty, and work with a high motive, and you will become invincible, and can overcome with your mind and will every obstacle in your pathway. Education, culture, and refinement can do great things for you. Always remember, you were born under very fortunate planetary conditions, that many of the greatest people in the world are Leo people. You have the strength and courage of a lion, and if you are not successful or happy, it is due entirely to your neglect of cultivating and bringing out your wonderful powers. These powers and forces which make for success are always latent in every Leo person, and can only be developed by intelligent exercise of mind and the will. And that reminds me, your willpower is naturally very strong, but you can add greatly to its strength by continually and persistently holding in your mind high and strong thoughts. Any line of thinking which causes you to be morbid or blue is weakening to your willpower, and all worry and apprehension about your success will drive good things away from you. In business, love, and money matters, you must feel that you will be successful, that there is no possible chance for you to fail. And when you can get into that state of mind, your success is as certain and sure as 2 and 2 are 4. Those of the Leo sign who reach the highest attainments are always of a philosophical turn of mind. They fully realize that it is of the utmost importance for them to take the ups and downs of life without a single murmur or complaint. Learn to take the bitter with the sweet, rain with the sunshine, sorrow with joy, and never whine or grumble at seeming fate or ill luck. In other words, be grateful and thankful for the many good things in the world. By doing this, you strengthen your willpower and will easily batter down all obstacles in your way to success and happiness. In love affairs, by being mild, gentle, and kind to the being loved, you will in return not only win all of that person's love, but will also command their highest respect and admiration. All Leo people should seek an early marriage. If you are married, your chief aim or object should be to make your home bright and happy by flooding it with all the kindness and love you can command. In every move you make, be absolutely fearless and courageous, always keeping in mind that the highest rewards are only earned by indomitable will, great courage, and an entire absence of doubt and fear. The cultivated and educated Leo persons possess clairvoyant and intuitive powers, which enable them to foretell and prophesy things that will happen in the future. Many great prophets, seers, sages, and wise men and women come out of the sign of Leo. Listening to music, reading good books and magazines, and observing and studying successful men and women is of untold advantage to you. You can learn anything that you will apply your mind to, and ought to be handy in mechanical matters. Your possibilities are so great when you correct and remedy your faults that I have taken special pains in this delineation to caution you against faults which will retard your progress and make you unhappy. In no way ever give way to an inclination to be tricky. Always stick to strict truth and don't borrow money, books, or anything. Be independent and self-reliant, and you will become a giant of strength and power. If you yield to laziness, indolence, impatience, anger, worry, and anxiety, you will bring on yourself misery and suffering. Always control your passion for the opposite sex. By not doing this, many a Leo person has brought on great misery and trouble. Always have high ideals and try to live a pure and high life. Let your highest nature have full sway. Whenever you are troubled or anxious, I advise you to go off in a quiet spot and all alone try to calm yourself by thinking of the bright side of life. If you can believe in prayer to the good God, offer up to Him a silent prayer for calm, peace, help, and love, and your prayer will be answered. The power of an earnest, sincere prayer for relief is wonderful. By prayer, the yogis often perform wonderful things, which to the ignorant and unbelieving seem like great miracles. As a matter of fact, we say that every force and power in the universe is natural and can be controlled and directed in natural ways for good. We know there is nothing supernatural in the universe. The great sun of this solar system governs your sign, and you can attract all of the wonderful solar fluids and currents to your aid by living the higher life. I have suggested here just what you are to do to have perfect health, amass wealth and happiness, and if you heed my teachings, you cannot fail. This sign is governed by the sun. The gems are ruby and diamond. The astral colors are red and green. The diseases which you are most likely to suffer from are weak lungs, heart troubles, fevers, back and kidney troubles, and despondency. Your best companions are those born in Sagittarius, Libra, and Aries. People born in this sign are usually wiry, but not over tall, well proportioned, round head, light or ruddy complexion, and have a strong, deep voice and large eyes. May the peace and blessings of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Leo. Bhakti, Seva. Cusps. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Cancer through Leo, July 22nd to 28. In these 6 days are found the elements of fire and water. The most daring and confident, the most unscrupulous politicians were born during this period. The natural Leo laziness is much modified by the Cancer restlessness, which keeps them looking for strange sensations and new enjoyments. They are secretive or frank, whichever best suits their purpose. The men require the utmost probity of their wives, but do not care to be called to book in return. The women of this sign are intense, and if treated harshly or indifferently, will conceive a disgust for their marital companion. As mothers, they are self-denying and affectionate, and as housekeepers, they are orderly. In fact, they are liable to be too orderly for their own comfort and those around them. The people born in this cusp are gifted with phenomenal memory. There are no heights that these people cannot attain if they so determine. They can always be depended upon to stand by a friend through every description of trouble. When well reared and educated, these natives have beautiful characters, freely giving to the suffering, both from their pocket and their heart. End of chapter 8. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 9 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 9. Virgo. All persons born from August 21st to September 22nd, inclusive, were born under the sign of Virgo. Virgo is the sign of the Virgin and is the middle sign of the Earth triplicity. And the people of this sign are usually cool, calm, and confident, great and grand qualities which can bring one to the highest success and happiness. In India, the yogic astrologers tell the Virgo people their faults and bad tendencies, so that they may correct them and thus reach the highest position in life, which is theirs by birth under this excellent sign. You can and must excel in everything you undertake. To think of failure is very, very foolish and weakening. Always have hope and courage, and you will draw and attract to yourself wonderful power and force. Fight with strong will and grim determination every obstacle that crosses your path, whether it be sickness, adversity, or poverty. You can win every time. You are fully adapted to a business or a professional career and will be a marked success in whatever calling you select, provided you will kill entirely all low, vulgar, and selfish tendencies. Your sign represents the hidden fire of the earth, which means you are an all-powerful, forceful being. Learn at once that order and method in your habits are absolutely essential to your happiness, success, and well-being. Order is heaven's first law. Think and observe much and order your life so that you will do everything in an orderly, methodical, and systematic way. Strive strenuously to fully develop all the good that is in you. Give much attention to your higher nature. Improve yourself morally, spiritually, and intellectually. The only force in this universe is the force of good, the force of God. A beautiful and happy life can only be attained by aspiring for good, the highest. The study of philosophy, occult science, and metaphysics will open your mind to a wealth of happiness you little dream of. Always be generous, kind, and loyal. Many excellent scholars and musicians are found in this sign, and we always urge Virgo persons of either sex to study much, read much, and give a great deal of time to hearing music. Music is very inspiring and helpful to you, and if you have any inclination to play or sing, don't hesitate in cultivating your taste in this direction. The pronounced faults of the Virgo people are: a too strong desire to rule and dominate over people, seeing the faults of others and not seeing their own weak points, false pride and false ambition, meddling with other people's business and affairs and not attending strictly to their own business, taking drugs and medicines for imaginary diseases and ailments, conceit, vanity and egotism, falsehood, misrepresentation, exaggeration, and making extravagant statements about matters and things, especially with regard to their achievements, running in debt for the sake of keeping up appearances. All of these bad qualities are likely to appear in the lower, uneducated, and uncultivated persons of this sign, and if you have any or all of these tendencies, I advise you to root them out of your being once and for all time, as they will be the millstones around your neck, which will keep you from rising to a superior position. I do not know of a higher or grander character than the highly developed Virgo person, or of a meaner and lower being when the sign lives on the low plane, in ignorance and darkness. So you see, it is of the utmost importance for you to cultivate your higher nature, which is always true and grand. With respect to health, the Virgo people are naturally healthy persons and do not need drugs or medicine. Outdoor exercise, lots of air and sunshine will keep you well, strong, and vigorous. In love, you will be successful when you learn to not be too critical or exacting. If not married, you will do well to select a life partner who is cheerful and does not look on the dark side of life. If you are married, you can make your home a very happy one by not expecting too much from your wife or husband. Your weak point is seeing faults in others, and often a married Virgo person carries his criticism into his or her married life and sees too many faults in the chosen wife or husband. Spend much time with nature, in the green fields and woods. Love animals and surround yourself with flowers and domestic pets. If you will be temperate in your eating and don't drug and dose yourself with medicines, you can live many years and retain youthful spirits and vigor up to the time you pass on to the other world. The elixir of life is yours, if you will only realize that everything in this world is all right and running in perfect order, directed and guided by the wise one who rules all. You may think you can run this universe better than it is run, but don't attempt it unless you wish to make yourself miserable and destroy your great natural powers and forces. Give yourself a frequent, careful examination, looking out for your own bad faults or tendencies, and don't waste any of your time and energy in picking out the flaws in others. In this world, the law is that we find exactly what we look for. If we look for bad, bad will come to us. If we think weakness, failure, poverty, and that sort of thing, we will certainly get our full share of weakness, failure, poverty. As a man thinks, so will he be. Poverty is very galling to Virgo people, and they can never amass money until they live on a high plane. That is to say, as long as they brood, whine, grumble, complain, and murmur over their lot, just so long they will remain poor and miserable. But, on the other hand, let the Virgo person wake up and cast out all fear and doubt, be up and doing with a cheerful spirit and a high motive, then will he or she have success beyond their fondest hopes. You have everything to live for and can have prosperity and happiness by doing as I suggest. This sign is governed by Mercury, and the gems are pink jasper and hyacinth. The astral colors are gold and black, speckled with blue dots. The diseases which you are most likely to suffer from are stomach troubles and nervousness. Your best companions are those born in Libra, Sagittarius, and in your own sign, Virgo. People born in this sign are usually of middle stature and well formed, with noble faces. May the peace and blessing of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Virgo. Bhakti, Seva. Cusp. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign constitutes 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Leo through Virgo, August 22nd to 28. Persons born on any of these 6 days make excellent and intelligent citizens. They partake of the strong combination of fire and earth. The earth needs the sun, and these natives apparently understand that need. Both the men and women are fond of everything that grows. They are also tremendous workers, and when educated are logical thinkers. They have a natural ability of taking the good things of the earth to themselves and enjoying them. They make excellent physicians and teachers, and their ability to conceive is remarkably pronounced. The heat of Leo is modified by the coolness and solidity of the earth, so that there is not so much temptation to take offense as prevails if the two signs were taken separately. They are true children of nature, and like to spend most of their time out of doors, wearing as few garments as possible. But when it is necessary to live within 4 walls, they demand the best quality of wearing apparel combined with the latest style. End of Chapter 9. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 10 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 10. Libra. All persons born from September 23rd to October 22nd, inclusive, were born under the sign of Libra. This is the middle sign of the air triplicity, and persons born in it have a great variety of disposition. You are naturally persistent and competent, and can, through these qualities, win success. Your foresight and judgment are excellent, and you could become a successful merchant or businessman or woman. In studies, you can excel, and if you have an inclination to be a scholar, a writer, a lecturer, or educator, I would advise you to follow that bent of your mind. The study of philosophy or occult science would interest and benefit you much. Indeed, your success in a very great measure depends upon acquiring knowledge of what this life is for, why we are here, where we came from, and whence we go. This is a wonderful world and a wonderful universe, controlled and directed by one wonderful force. What is that? Knowing which all can be known. Your success and happiness depend upon your being energetic, ambitious, and striving to know all that can be known. In all your undertakings, you must be fearlessly bold and daring, and never worry over losses, troubles, or obstacles. The moment you stop to waste any force or energy in fear, doubt, or regrets for past actions, that moment you are in danger. Understand that you are a very fortunate person and can always win success if you feel sure you will win before making the attempt. No half-hearted or faint-hearted work will be a success in your hands. You must be enthusiastically in earnest and feel in every fiber of your being that you will succeed in whatever you attempt to do. Many daring and brilliant financiers, stockbrokers, speculators, schemers, promoters, and even gamblers come out of your sign. Gambling never brings happiness, even if success attends it, and I would caution you against this pernicious habit. There are so many good legitimate enterprises in which you could engage with success, that I would urge on you to apply yourself to a good, honest calling. Men and women of this sign can make themselves very charming, fascinating, magnetic, hypnotic, and attractive, by curbing their intense passions and appetites a little. Avoid being too reckless and too daring. There is a golden mean or happy medium between the two extremes of daring and boldness, and fear and timidity, which you should adopt in all of your undertakings. Libra women are more sensible and have better judgment than the men of this sign. In love affairs, exercise great care, and don't place your love through low or sensual feelings. Never borrow money, but earn all you spend. Be self-reliant and strong, and fight the world by your own strength and power, which, I can assure you, is very strong. The planetary forces and solar fluids will serve you well and good when you stand out alone and rely on your own abilities. The good that Libra people can do in the world when they are spiritually awakened is astounding. You ought to give your time to reading philosophical works, and ever hold in your mind to be a good, true, forceful man or woman. Learn to adapt yourself to all conditions of life and not to be disturbed by either adversity or prosperity. When you can be calm and tranquil, no matter what happens, that very moment you become a very powerful being and can work wonders. All the powers and forces of the universe are then yours to use. Indeed, you will be helped by unseen powers that you little dream exist. If man only knew of the countless great souls who could help him, he would have more courage than he has. What you attribute to luck is not luck, but the work of unseen intelligent powers who help those who try to help themselves. Be kind, amiable, pleasant, gentle, and generous to all mankind and all animals. The devas, angels, are always good to those who are good to the brute creation. As long as you do not worry or fret about money, you will have plenty of it, and the best plan for you to follow in amassing a fortune is not to think much about money matters, but plunge ahead in an easy, confident way in any line that is to your fancy, and you will be successful. Be kind, amiable, pleasant, gentle, and generous to all mankind and all animals. The devas, angels, are always good to those who are good to the brute creation. As long as you do not worry or fret about money, you will have plenty of it. And the best plan for you to follow in amassing a fortune is not to think much about money matters, but plunge ahead in an easy, confident way in any line that is to your fancy, and you will be successful. Always be broad-minded and liberal in your ideas. Your great fault is impatience, and you must learn to wait. When you can overcome impatience and will let your higher and better mind guide and direct your actions, you will get along better. Persons of your nature ought to dress well, live in good houses, and have all the comforts and even the luxuries of life. It hardly ever pays a Libra person to engage in hard and dirty work, because they must be neat and clean. The world always shows favors to neat, trim, and clean-looking people, and has no use for a slovenly appearing person. The married people of this sign who have children and provide good homes for their families are always very fortunate in their financial undertakings. It is very unwise for a Libra person of either sex to remain unmarried. One of the glaring faults of this sign is egotism. Strive to be modest and quiet, not vain and proud. I would like you, dear reader, to cultivate your higher and better nature all you can. I dearly love the Libra people because they are always so fearless, daring, dashing, and bold. It is difficult for the world to love or help a timid, cowardly person, one who is weak and afraid and goes about telling tales of woe and misery. Yet the Yogis love the weak and ever strive to put hope and courage into them. This sign is governed by Venus. The gems are diamond and opal. The astral colors are black, crimson, and light blue. The diseases which you are most likely to suffer from are nervous prostration and stomach troubles. Your best companions are those born in your own sign and in Aquarius. People born in this sign are usually tall and slender, well-formed, with oval faces, and have beautiful eyes. May the peace and blessing of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Libra. Bhakti, Seva. Cusp. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Virgo through Libra, September 23rd to 29. There is the same fondness for out of doors of persons born during these 6 days as that which distinguishes the Leo Virgo people. The combination of Virgo and Libra forms a most charming and fascinating character, as the reserve of Virgo is broken up by the ease and enthusiasm of Libra. These people are not easily taken advantage of, and at the same time have very kind natures and are extremely unselfish. They make enthusiastic lovers and devoted marital companions. If they make an unfortunate marriage, they keep that to themselves and make the best of it, and turn their attention to business or intellectual pursuits or enjoyment. Their best and most practical friend is nature. They are great travelers, and a trip helps them forget their troubles and disappointments. They are at all times alive to the beauties of this world, and have the pleasant faculty of producing charming results in dress and household arrangements. End of Chapter 10. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 11 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 11. Scorpio. All persons born from October 23rd to November 21st, inclusive, were born under the sign of Scorpio. The Scorpio people are allied to the great powers of the ocean of this planet. This is the middle sign of the water triplicity. The Scorpio people are wonderfully strong, as the planetary and solar forces which surge through them constantly give them great magnetism and vitality. In India, the land of wonders, the yogis, especially the Bhakti yogis, true God lovers, fully know that any person born in this sign has great possibilities. So we earnestly urge them to realize their greatness. Many yogis and wise men and women are born in this sign, and they have set down many rules which, if followed, will lead the Scorpio person to the greatest success. The most helpful men and women come out of this sign, and the world can rejoice every time a Scorpio person is born. Oh, you blessed people, what strength and power for success and happiness you have. You are the salt of the earth. Many eloquent speakers come out of this sign, such as lecturers of note and preachers of prominence. Also, some of our best writers are Scorpio people. When not ignorant, but educated, these people can turn their minds and hands to any line of work with success. Therefore, it is very important that you read a great deal and acquire all the knowledge you can. It is important that you always maintain a quiet, modest, and dignified bearing. It is well for you to be fond of the good things of the world, dress well, and have a comfortable home. In money matters, you can amass wealth by steady and persistent endeavor in one line. Always be provident and saving, and put by money for future needs or investments. But don't be stingy, mean, or penurious. You can be careful with money and yet spend considerable sums in improving your surroundings, in improving your mind. Much of your leisure time should be given to outdoor exercise, as your health and vigor depends upon lots of pure fresh air and sunshine. Traveling on water, such as an ocean or lake trip, is very beneficial to you, and if you are fond of boating, give much of your leisure time to it. Strolling along a river bank or on the shores of a lake or ocean will do you much good. Don't get money mad, or let money getting be your only aim, as being too deeply engrossed in the acquiring of riches, often with Scorpio people, defeats the very end sought. Sometimes a person of this sign will get money mad and break down their health and destroy the vigor and vitality necessary to everyone who amasses money. Don't worry, don't hurry, take it easy. I mean, work steadily at something which you like, and give more thought to doing your work honestly and thoroughly, and in the best possible manner, than to what money it will bring you. Learn to work and be busy with the idea of the good your work will do, rather than with the thought of how much money you can get out of it. In love affairs, you will be successful from the very moment that you can fully control any feelings of anger, jealousy, envy, or hatred. Indeed, the worst fault of this sign, and the fault which retards progress and success, is a tendency that you are likely to have to get angry and disturbed if things don't go just as you think they ought to go. For this cause, some Scorpio people are not successful in love and business. Be kind, gentle, amiable, and polite to all, and all will love you, and your success is assured. By following this advice, you will become magnetic, hypnotic, fascinating, charming, and draw and attract to yourself the love of everyone. People will admire you and want to associate with you and do business with you. This means success. If you are not married, I would advise you to look about and select a good life partner, as marriage will bring you great success and happiness. This advice applies equally to both sexes. And while speaking of marriage, let me say, the Hindu yogis positively know that the man or woman who gets married, no matter what sign they are born in, makes a move which can bring more prosperity and happiness than anything else. We always advocate marriage and the rearing and raising of children. It is the divine command. God intended all of His children to marry and raise children. Countless men and women make life a failure and are very miserable and unhappy because they have disobeyed God's command about marriage. If you are of a nagging or jealous nature, don't think of marriage until you are thoroughly cured of this mean, low, and bad habit. There is nothing meaner or lower in our natures than jealousy and its twin brother, envy. A jealous or envious person will never be happy, is never loved, always drives people away. Now, I want you to overcome all bad tendencies and become a good and true being, and then you can be anything you choose to be. Give some thought to God, your Father, and understand that in all history, there never correction. Give some thought to God, your Father, and understand that in all history, there never was a grand or noble character who did not love God, the good. When you love God, you will not be suspicious or want to scold or find fault with people whom you associate with. The best way to love God is to love all human beings and all animals, and be kind, gentle, and considerate of others. Associate all you can with men and women of success, and carefully study and observe how they order their lives. Read the lives of great and good men and women who have achieved success. Around you all the time are great forces and powers which can help you if you will only heed what I say here. My only interest is the deep love I have for all, and my desire to see you get the full benefit of the extraordinarily good planetary and solar conditions under which you were born. This sign is governed by Mars, and the gems are topaz and malachite. The astral colors are golden brown and black. The diseases which you are most likely to suffer from are heart troubles, weakness of the back, lumbago, and gout. Your best companions are those born in Pisces, Libra, and Virgo. People born in this sign are inclined to corpulency in middle life, have dusky complexions, broad, square faces, and dark hair. May the peace and blessings of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Scorpio. Bhakti, Seva. Cusps. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Libra through Scorpio, October 23rd to 29. Persons born on any one of these 6 days have a remarkable creative genius. They are great originators and can carry their ideas to successful conclusion. The women are excellent cooks and housekeepers, and are usually successful in anything they undertake. The combination of the Libra Scorpio makes a pleasing and unconventional character. The natural Libra fear and hesitation sometimes communicate their influence to this cusp and makes the person stop in a crisis. But when the time actually arrives for the deed to be done, the forces from Scorpio unite with those of Libra, and success is generally accomplished. They are sometimes very jealous and untruthful. Their appearance is usually immaculate, and they have a faculty of getting out of most any scrape that they become involved in. End of chapter 11. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 12 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 12. Sagittarius. All persons born from November 22nd to December 20th, inclusive, were born under the sign of Sagittarius. This is the last sign of the fire triplicity, as this is the sign of earnestness, honesty, and frankness. I want to impress you with the fact that the Hindu yogis give their whole lives to doing good, that all that I write here is for your good. I want you to be successful and happy. The text of all our sermons and writings is health, wealth, and happiness. We try to love the world the same as God does. Naturally, you are born for grand achievement. The only things that can retard your progress or be obstacles to your being successful would be tendencies of doubt, fear, morbidness, impatience, dishonesty, a lack of combativeness, a lack of hope and cheerfulness, and a lack of generosity. You must study your weak points carefully and try to break yourself of the tendency to quickly get angered or mad with those who do not agree with you. Put your whole force and energy in whatever you undertake, and know that you can succeed. You can generally accomplish what you undertake by having the fullest faith and greatest confidence in your ability to succeed. It is absolutely necessary for people of your sign, of either sex, to have unbounded faith, hope, and confidence. If you are fearful of success and have any doubts about succeeding in any undertaking you may have in mind, it would be wise for you to abandon it, as the chances are you will not meet with success. Work is essential to your happiness. All people of this sign who are idle, are not continually actively engaged in some pursuit, are apt to be very miserable. Rely entirely upon your own opinions, and don't permit or allow anyone to switch you off or change your mind, as your own judgment about what to do and what not to do is far more valuable than that of friends or acquaintances. People of this sign, both men and women, are adapted to business and are successful when they apply themselves to one line. Concentrate all of your energy and powers on whatever you have in hand, and do not take up a new undertaking until you carry the present one to a successful end. You will be very powerful and forceful to the extent that you combat and overcome obstacles, especially your faults. You are one who does not need to be told much about your faults, as you know them yourself. Therefore, I will not say much about them, but leave you to determine your weak points, and only urge you to fight with persistency to down every low and bad tendency you may have. Your great success and happiness will depend upon how you bring out the good and high qualities which you naturally possess. When these are strong and dominant, your lower nature, you will be a very charming and fascinating person. Then, in love, business, social achievements, or culture, you will be successful. People will then marvel at your wonderful magnetic and hypnotic powers, which will make you all powerful in influencing men and women, in attracting and drawing to you people who can be of service to you. Be ever active in your own affairs, and waste no time or energy in meddling with the affairs of others. People of this sign do many of the great things in the world, and when educated, well read, well informed, and cultivated, invariably achieve distinction and amass great fortunes. It is well for you in your relations with men and women to be frank and open, and always bright, cheerful, and jovial. If there is anything that people dislike, it is a blue, grumbling, whining man or woman, who with sorrowful or sad countenance always has a tale of woe to tell. People who succeed are those who are ever hopeful and cheerful, and who are always up and doing, making things happen. And this is just what you must fix in your mind. I will make things happen. I will succeed. I will be happy and joyful. I will see only the good and bright things of this world. What this world needs is more cheerful workers, more enterprising men and women, more progressive beings, more courageous and combative people. If not married, I would advise you to seriously consider the question. Read what I say about marriage in the closing chapter of this book. Neatness, order, attention to details, providently laying aside money for emergencies, belong to your sign in a marked degree, and are what makes so many of the Sagittarius people so wonderfully successful. They generally understand the following words of wisdom uttered by a wise and good man. The way to wealth is as plain as the way to market. It depends on two words, industry and frugality. That is, waste neither time nor money, but make the best use of both. If you would be wealthy, think of saving as well as getting. Poverty is a curse and must be abolished. The yogis of India, in a quiet and subtle way, in all of their sermons, lectures, and writings, inject suggestions against poverty. We pray constantly that the minds of men may grasp the true and high way of acquiring money and using it wisely. We claim no great fortunes were ever amassed dishonestly, that to acquire enormous wealth one must be honest and wise, know how to use it wisely after getting it. Fully developed, cultured, refined, and educated, the Sagittarius people are very intuitive, their minds constantly running ahead and quite accurately foretelling coming events. They become bright and brilliant conversationalists, and, all in all, a much-loved people. Lots of reading, good-spirited music, outdoor sports, dancing in association with learned and brilliant people is of advantage to you. This sign is governed by Jupiter, and the gems are carbuncle, diamond, and turquoise. The astral colors are gold, red, and green. The diseases which you are most likely to suffer from are rheumatism and stomach troubles. Your best companions are those born in Aries, Aquarius, Libra, Virgo, and in your own sign. People born in this sign have very expressive eyes and are active and graceful, being swift in their movements. May the peace and blessings of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, dear sister or brother of Sagittarius. Bhakti, Seva. Cusp. If your first breath was drawn when one sign was taking the place of another, you will partake of the characteristics of both signs. Hence, you belong to the cusp. The residence in a sign consists of 6 days. Any time less endows one with some of the qualities of the preceding sign. The cusp of Scorpio through Sagittarius, November 22nd through 28th. Persons born on any of these 6 days are agreeable in speech and graceful in manner, and are remarkable imitators. The conscience of Sagittarius has a hard struggle at times with the easy moral principles of Scorpio, but Sagittarius usually conquers. If a native of this cusp takes up an impure or dissipated life, their descent is more rapid. They make the best soldiers, surgeons, and lawyers, as they are devoid of all fear. The woman is law in her own household and severely deals with any disobedience. These persons require praise and consideration for their good deeds, and if it is not given, it has a marked effect on their happiness. The people of this cusp are remarkably brilliant and capable of great learning, but they lack patience and frequently fret themselves into the grave. Sometimes the forces from these two signs produce a more pronounced and disagreeable pessimist. As a rule, however, the people of these signs are agreeable. End of Chapter 12. Recording by Jill Preston. Chapter 13 of the Hindu Book of Astrology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Jill Preston. The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva. Chapter 13. The Hindu Yogi's Rules for Attaining Health, Wealth, and Happiness, or How to Banish Disease and Abolish Poverty. The Hindu yogi is a seer or sage who, by deep and long meditation, prayer, study of man and the universe, at last reaches illumination or wisdom, whereby he thoroughly understands the many perplexing problems of life and can solve them. This planet has now reached that stage of evolution where its highest order of inhabitants are beginning to awake to a realization of their wonderful greatness. The ignorance and darkness of the past ages is being dissipated by the light of truth, modern thought. False teaching, cause of woe and misery. For thousands of years, man has been ruled and governed by much false teaching. He has been told that he is a miserable worm, and been made a weakling and an arrant coward by the fear of punishment by a wrathful and angry God, who ever sits in judgment on his every act. With such teachings and such a God, he could make little progress, because fear is always weakening and never inspires hope or courage. The Yogis, who are the greatest lovers and worshipers of God in the world, say that the great ruler of this universe is all mercy, all love, all helping, and never punishes; that a man is all powerful, all forceful, and not limited; that all are one. All that a man has got to do is to realize what a great and powerful being he is, and then he can accomplish anything he desires. The real and the apparent man. What is that, knowing which everything else is to be known? This is the one theme that the Yogi dwells upon, and as thought can by persistent concentration solve the deepest problems, we eventually arrive at the truth of what the real man is and his purpose here. We find that man's goal is knowledge, wisdom, and freedom from all bondage, that he is an eternal soul with all possibilities, that he can control all the powers and forces in the universe for his own good, for health, for wealth, and happiness. To reach the highest degree of attainment or success, he must stop thinking fear, doubt, disease, failure, disaster, and that sort of thing. Man, therefore, according to our philosophy, is the greatest being that is in the universe, and this earth the best place, because here is the greatest chance, the only chance to become perfect. So we always strive to improve your mind, your body, your material wealth, and your environment. Be cheerful and happy, and let God take care of the rest. When you can learn to think this way, you will be the real God-man, and the apparent man or shadow will vanish forever. You are then at one with the Great One, and all force and power is yours. How the Devas, angels, can help us. Countless angels or spirits are ever ready to help the real man, the brave, bold, true, and courageous man, and do help him in a way that it would be hard to explain in a book of this scope and to the ordinary mind. All humanity is being helped all the time by these great souls who do not live in a gross body like ours. To get their best help, one must be kind, gentle, calm, and free from anger or hatred. That is the reason you will always see that all great men and women have full and complete control of themselves, and are invariably mild, kind, and gentle people. You have no idea how much good you lose when you lose control of your temper or passion. Marriage brings success. Look about you, and on every hand you will observe that all the men and women who reach great success have a partner, a wife, or husband. God has always commanded man to marry and bring into the world children. In selecting a wife or husband, be careful to take a person on the same social plane as yourself. About women. The Yogis have the very highest respect and the purest love for women. We know that woman is a finer organization than man, and in India you never hear the Hindus of culture or refinement ever refer to women as the weaker vessel. Man, to reach his highest development, must look up to women, the mother of creation, and love her with the highest and purest love, and respect her with the highest respect. No man can become great until he has this respect for women. Woman is the finer vessel, and not the weaker vessel. Occult science. In this wonderful and progressive age, men and women are discovering that the study of occult science and metaphysics is of great advantage to them. The occult or secret powers and forces can only come to us by and through certain studies of this nature. The reading of books on astrology, mental science, mind reading, telepathy, opens the mind to new and fresh thought, which is very helpful and inspiring. Power of prayer. Prayers, when uttered in the right spirit, and which are not made with mean or selfish motives, are always answered. If at any time you are in great distress of mind, or burdened with troubles which seem too great to overcome, if you will go off to some quiet place and open your heart and mind to God, asking for light, direction, or relief, He will answer your prayer surely. Or maybe some of the devas, angels, will hear your appeal and come and soothe you and give you gentle thoughts which will help you. The prayer of the yogi is always for light, direction, and love, and is answered. Don't worry. The strong and great man is the calm, cool, collected man who holds his temper, who doesn't worry or hurry or get rattled, no matter whether things go against him or with him. He is a giant of patience, strength, and force. Such a soul has strength and force to do things, to keep itself in the very middle of the current of success, health, and happiness. By its magnificence and greatness, it attracts all the good elements and forces of the universe to its aid. It aspires to be good and great, and inspires all persons with love, admiration, and confidence. And right here, let me quote a great scientist who says, "If the blood is not right, the brain cannot be, for it can only be nourished by good blood." The chief enemies of the brain are worry, which disorganizes the human machinery; shock, which paralyzes the brain. Worry or excitement causes irregular nerve action. We call it confusion of ideas or nervosity. Worry is the worst disease of the age. About our troubles. In trouble, to be troubled is to have your trouble doubled. The only way to overcome our troubles is to let them wear themselves out. If you will pay no attention to them, they will soon go away. People worry and trouble much over troubles that do not come. Of the hand and weary loads, 'neath which we bend and fall, the troubles that do not come are the heaviest ones of all. Our thoughts make us. Thinking trouble brings trouble. Thinking good brings good. We can make our life just what the mind thinks. Therefore, how important it is for all of us to think rightly. The secret of wealth. We must first think wealth, and then use the mind to discover the true foundation of wealth. The mind, in its search for the cause of wealth, will soon discover that well-directed energy, work, is back of all wealth. But along with this energy, we must have faith, hope, and courage. This is a busy world, and we are living in a wonderful age of big undertakings and great progress. At every hand is to be seen advancement, improvement, progress, growth, and expansion. We are continually going forward, onward, and upward. Nothing stands still. There is no backward movement. The world is better and busier today than it was yesterday, and will be better and busier tomorrow than it is today. It is the calm, honest, thorough, thoughtful, and busy workers who make this condition of growth and progress, not the worrying, hurrying, fretful, gloomy, morbid, pessimistic minds who persist in looking at things through the wrong end of the telescope. No one will be successful or feel the glorious good times which are here to stay unless he is hopeful and cheerful and willing to play the part God has assigned to him. And now, dear friends, I have tried hard in this book to inspire you with hope and courage, and I sincerely hope you will feel that we yogis dearly love you and wish you peace, joy, prosperity, and happiness. And in conclusion, let me quote the saying of one of our brothers who is a great yogi, a great soul. You are all God, O ye men, and O ye animals and living beings. Ye are the manifestation of the one living God, the Blessed One, the all in all. So how can you doubt your reaching perfection? May the peace and blessings of the Blessed One and all the devas, angels, and all the yogis of the universe be ever with you, my beloved sisters and brothers, is the prayer of Bhakti, Seva, 22 North William Street, New York City. End of chapter 13. Recording by Jill Preston. End of The Hindu Book of Astrology by Bhakti, Seva.